fantasy move for a 5-0 team right
That's right. I'm staying on top of it.
Adam Thielen's heading
Put it here this time, hopefully. We tried to do it last time.
now recording on my phone.
Zach commented on our Instagram post.
You did this to yourself.
It's gonna be a fun one tonight. Start with the game that just wrapped up, literally just wrapped up. Minnesota knocking off the Golden State Warriors 117-110. First half was looking competitive. It felt as though maybe Golden State had a chance here to extend this series. Warriors were up at the half. They were up 2. Just a third quarter that was dominated by the Minnesota Timberwolves and Anthony Edwards. I mean, we talked about Anthony Edwards a lot last night. You know he's going to go give you 30 every night. I said that verbatim. He went out tonight and scored 30, hit 6 threes. An unbelievable basketball player. We could get into the technicalities of how that came, but Rafe, I just want to get your first thoughts on what you saw tonight from the Timberwolves offense.
Yeah, really came alive in the second half. I thought the Warriors defense was doing a good enough job of kind of muddying things up a little bit there for him in the first half. Obviously, not the same story in the second half. Also, a lot of guys for the Warriors kind of disappeared. A strong start for Pods in the first quarter. Kuminga had a really good game, but outside of that, really not a whole lot going. So it felt like it was just kind of a matter of time before the Timberwolves took control of this game, and they were able to do that on the back of Anthony Edwards, who, as you said, had an unreal third quarter there. And up 3-1. It's probably still no Curry in Game 5, so it's not looking great for the Golden State Warriors.
No, not at all. And I mean, you can look back at, you talked about how they muddied it up there in that first half. They played some good defense, but then the Timberwolves kind of figured it out a little bit. Golden State was running a zone, and I'll be the first one to say it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. The zone was horrible. When you're running a zone, it is designed to force the opposing team to shoot threes. Now, that worked for a moment because you were allowing Mike Conley to shoot the ball, and he has played absolutely terrible this series, and it was fine. But then when you're allowing Anthony Edwards to get open for 3, you're allowing DiVincenzo to get open for 3, Nickeil Alexander-Walker hit a 3, that's when it went south, because now they're getting out on the three-point lines. They're attacking the perimeter, in which case Anthony Edwards is getting into the middle of this zone, and he's wide open. No one's in the vicinity. They're dumping it down to the block. I just thought the defense tonight from the Warriors was absolutely abysmal, and I'm not trying to take anything away from the Timberwolves offense because, I mean, they looked really, really good for the long time throughout this series, or both sides of the West, and Oklahoma City Denver series as well. I've really felt as if the Thunder Nuggets series, I mean, that is for a trip to the finals. But tonight, what I saw from the Timberwolves defensively and offensively, that opens up a lot. Now, while I still don't think that they are better than the Thunder, it feels as if they're going to get through. And if they can match up with a team like the Nuggets, I could totally see this Timberwolves team playing in the finals. What is the ceiling? I mean, what is the ceiling? Obviously, you're getting to this point of the season where they've made it this far. Obviously, anything can happen. They can get to the NBA Finals, but how realistic is it for the Timberwolves to make it out of the West at this point?
I think they have a very realistic path. I think their defense is going to travel throughout the rest of the playoffs, however long they're in it. It's just finding a way to make sure that offense stays consistent. And if Julius Randle can consistently play the way he has tonight and through this series, they're going to be a tough out, and they're going to be a tough team to beat night in and night out. So I think there is a legitimate path for them to the finals, no matter who they end up facing next round. assuming they get past this round, which is looking like they will, it's a very real possibility. And I've been high on the Timberwolves for really most of the season, even though they've been hurt a lot and they were kind of lower in the standings. But I think we're starting to kind of see a little bit of that potential of what they have there.
My sole concern for Minnesota moving forward, and this is, of course, like you said, assuming that they make it through and make it past the Warriors, which, again, going back to Minnesota for Game 5, Game 7 as well, if it makes it that far, will be played in Minnesota. Game 5 will probably be played without Stephen Curry as well, is how it's looking. Who knows how long that will go on. My sole concern for Minnesota moving forward is if they come across a team like Oklahoma City in the Western Conference Finals, I just can't see them competing there because their rotation just isn't as deep. They run 8 rotation, and that's fine. And everyone really knows their role, and I think at the end of the day, that can be good. But when I look at the roles on this team, I can't help but feel like there's no fallback. And what I mean by that is there's multiple teams in the league. You can look at Cleveland, there's a fallback. You can look at Indiana, there's a fallback. You can look at Oklahoma City, there's a fallback. I don't see a fallback with this team for if a Julius Randle has a bad game, which is, I mean, realistically, that's going to happen, especially if you match up with a physical team like Oklahoma City. There's going to be a game where he's not shooting the ball well and he's not scoring, and you need someone to step up and score. I don't know if Jaden McDaniels is going to be able to do that. Mike Conley is certainly not going to be able to do that if he continues to play the way he has through these 4 games against Golden State. I just don't know where it's at. Who on this team? Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think, coming into the season, your hope was DiVincenzo could be that guy who could knock down some open shots and kind of alleviate some of that. We haven't really seen that from him yet. Nickeil Alexander-Walker can have some nice games. He's more of your kind of defensive stopper, though. Naz Reid, who had an unbelievable playoffs last year, didn't really show up a whole lot tonight. You're hoping, maybe he could be one of those guys, but I think it just all comes down to consistency. Can you consistently rely on one or two of those guys to, A, when Edwards and Randle have it going, to hit open shots when they're open, and B, those supporting cast guys, but also B, when one of those guys have an off night, to kind of play above their ceiling or what you're expecting of them. They need that more consistently for them to be like a real contender, to be a real threat for a championship.
I totally agree, because you look at Edwards and Randle, and they went combined with 10 and 19 from 3 tonight. Anytime you can get 61 points out of your top 2 guys, you're setting yourself up for a pretty good match, a pretty good game. They had 5 guys scoring figures. That always helps for sure. But 2 of 7 for Dante DiVincenzo. Naz Reid only got up 4 shots and scored 5 points. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who did come in and he played 17 minutes, but they were really good 17 minutes, perfect from the field. Conley, 2 of 9 from the field. These guys just have to be better moving forward. I understand that the Timberwolves come out with a win, and you're absolutely taking that and running with it. They looked great on both sides of the floor. They looked good on both sides of the floor. I don't want to say they look great, because I still think there are some things with that offense that I have questions with in the event that, we kind of saw in that first half where you need Mike Conley down a 3, and then he's not been able to do that. I don't really know. I don't this team. I know you've kind of talked about this, that you think they match up well and they have a chance, but I truly, even if this is the best that they'll play, I still think I would have taken the Thunder by double digits tonight, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I think they lack a lot offensively right now. I'm going to keep coming back to that, because that's just, you're going to have to score points, especially against, a good defense like the Thunder, if they end up matching up with them in the next round. I do kind of want to pivot the conversation here just a little bit. Do you see, I think there is a slight door open here, but is there any chance that Golden State can steal one in Minnesota to try and extend this series and try and get Curry back to at least give themselves a door opening of a chance here.
I think you saw it in that first half. I think you saw the window of, okay, we can get this to 2-2. We go to Minnesota. You know what? You go down 3-2 in Minnesota, but you're going to have Stephen Curry back for the final 2 games of the series. You win one in Golden State. It means you got to go steal one in Game 7, and anything can happen in a Game 7. Now, you cannot lose that game in Minnesota, that Game 5. And I just didn't see anything that made me think, yeah, this team, I'm feeling good about this team going into Game 5. I didn't. I didn't think Buddy Hield played well in the second half. I didn't think Pudimsky played well in the second half. Green didn't play well in the second half. Kuminga had a really good first half, but he just shouldn't be your first option. He played 30 minutes tonight, and I thought he played a really good, complete basketball game, but it felt like he was the first option, and that, to me, comes back to Jimmy Butler. He took there were 1, 2, 3, 4 guys that took more shots than him in this game, and you're supposed to be the second option on this team. Steph Curry's out. You're the first option now, dude. You have to go and be the guy to go score. You know, I understand it's been 5 years since that finals run when he was with Miami, and no one is expecting him to be that player anymore. But we are expecting you to step up a little bit and say, okay, I'm getting the ball in my hands. I'm not going to let us lose this game. When Minnesota had went on that with 14-17-0 run, Jimmy Butler's got to be the guy because he's the most well. I mean, you got Draymond Green out there and Buddy Hield who are experienced, but Jimmy Butler's been in this position before. Go get the ball in your hands. Go get your team a bucket, and you know, get the ice off a little bit. And he didn't do that. He completely disappeared tonight. If that is going to be the case moving forward, I absolutely see no chance that they go into Minnesota and win this game. But you do kind of remember back to last season, Minnesota struggled at home in the playoffs. You know, so if Jimmy Butler can step up and he can say, you know what, I'm going to go take 15, 17, 20 shots this game. And if that's how we lose, if that's how we go out, then I'm fine with that. But him taking 9 shots tonight and absolutely disappearing when they needed him the most, that to me, that told a lot about kind of, that's why when we're talking about this series, or in the beginning of this, we weren't even considering Golden State winning.
Yeah, I mean, just a huge lack of aggressiveness from Jimmy Butler tonight. But yeah, if they want any chance, it starts with Jimmy Butler and how he decides to come in and play. Do I see a world where, you know, Jimmy Butler has a good game and Buddy Hield shoots the lights out like we've seen him do before, and, you know, you get a little bit of help from Pods. Draymond is the defensive stopper that he can be, and they can steal a game. I see a world where that can happen, but I don't think it'll happen, and I think this series is probably over in 5.